is how I would deal with my athletes, and how I do that. The youth kids who just cry a lot during practice. They're super emotional, right? Number one, I talk to the parents and say, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. Don't be embarrassed. Don't get mad at them. Don't yell at them. I mean, just don't even worry about it. I love having these kids in the room. Not a problem, because I am incredibly patient. Then I talk to the young wrestler and say, what are you upset about? And then I just ask them. And you counsel them just like a counselor counsels you, if you've ever been, right? Like, get you to talk and say, well, now, if you think Johnny's too difficult, maybe we can just, how about if we don't wrestle him anymore for 2 weeks, and then week after next we'll try again. Okay, so now they're not fearful. So we've removed them. Sure, you can say, just get tough. We call that Barney Badass. We don't like Barney Badass coaching. It's stupid, right? Now, sure, you might do that to an 18-year-old who's just being a little punk because, he wants to hang out with his girlfriend and doesn't want to come to practice, right? I mean, everybody needs a good, swift kick sometimes. But we're talking about young kids. So just trying to tough them up, that doesn't work. So just talk to them. Then what I do is I address the parent. Well, I make a note, right? And I make sure I address that kid again and say, hey, now remember what we talked about last time. This is what we're going to do. Then maybe if he has a partner who's just too much that he can go with, but maybe he's just better, I'm like, hey, why don't you score 2 takedowns and then let Michael score 1? Because we want to help him out a little bit, because he's just learning how to get really good. And the kid goes, okay, right? And so then now, kids like being compassionate for other kids, right? Well, some don't. Some people just some little kids are just ferocious. We'll just tame them a little bit, maybe. Maybe give them a free Purler wrestling shirt if they play nice, right? I bribe the crap out of kids too, right? They'll do anything, for a little bit of incentive. But then what I do is, I contact this little wrestler before practice and give him little reminders about the deal. Then, thirdly, when I see results, I'm like, hey, you're doing a great job. You're doing just what we talked about. And if they get a little bit overwhelmed, that's fine. Like, hey, okay, now let's take a little break. I'm going to give you, see my stopwatch? I'm going to give you a 3-minute break. Go get a drink of water. Right, calm yourself down, and then they come back, then come see me. And when they come see me, I'm like, okay, you want to get back in there? And they're like, no, I don't really want to. And I'm like, okay, so maybe we have 7 minutes left with that partner. So I'll say, okay, you're going to take a 3 more minute break, but you're going to wrestle the last 4 minutes with that partner. Does that sound good? They're usually okay with that. And I go tell parents, hey, he's going to take 3 more minutes and finish up the last 4 minutes. Then we're switching partners. It's doing great. Parents like, okay, cool, right? So then the only thing I really get the parents to do is talk to their kids outside of wrestling. Maybe tomorrow when they're eating dinner, they got the baseball game on. And say, see, look, that $500 million man, whatever, that famous pro struck out, but he's okay with it. He doesn't like it, but he's not going to get emotional. Now, see, that's what you and Nick and I have been talking about. So, pointing out these things and then saying, I'm proud of you, you did good. I just had a kid, Jackson, he was like, 2 weeks ago, he's like, Nick, I went the whole practice without crying. And I'm like, boom, I fist bumped him. He just placed a freestyle state. His dad's like, I don't know what got into the kid, right? It's not toughness, it's panic. Some people panic a lot, right? Kids are like dogs. I've got one little dog that'll rip your freaking hat off, and I got one little dog, if there is a thunder, just a little bit, she runs and hides and shakes for 3 days. I'm surprised I'm surprised she's alive, right? So, but the thing is kids can get tougher. But they're not going to get tougher whenever you belittle them, run them out of the room, parents get mad and yell at them, But I understand as a parent, we don't want to be embarrassed by our kids. But so this is good advice for parents too. It's just counseling, and we like to baby step them, I remember when I was in 8th grade, I ran track. I wanted to quit. My dad wouldn't let me. My freaking coach, George Woodring, first day of practice, you got 4 miles. So we ran around this hard track. We didn't have the tracks like you do now. We had like cinder tracks, back in the 80s. And by day 3, I had shin splints so bad I couldn't walk. I literally was like army crawling down the hallway at school. Like, dude, you don't do that to people, right? That's old school. Well, you don't do that to kids either. So there's my tips. I've been doing it for years. And see, I like it though. I like learning how to get people from point A to point B. It's fun. It's exciting, right? And to get them to want to do it. So that's how I do it. It works every time. I'm 5,000-0. I'm undefeated over the past 20 years. So if you have kids who struggle, you can fix them.